today. Today we're talking about e-commerce, the fastest growing sales channel. The latest data indicates that by the year 2023, over 91% of Americans will be shopping online. Are you meeting your customers where they are? Today, to help me explore the topic of e-commerce selling online, is Cathie Buntjer, who turned her passion for knitting into a business and began offering her products, handcrafted products, online earlier this year. Welcome, Cathie.
Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm excited to be here today.
Good. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you are a busy lady, you have a lot going on, but I wanted to just kind of give a little background. Your bio indicates that you've been knitting for about 13 years now. Mm-hmm. So tell our viewers how and why you got started in knitting.
Well, I've always loved art. I've dabbled in many art forms over the years, but in 2008, my husband and I were traveling 60 miles one way several times a week for our volunteer work. Mm-hmm. And this was like pre-social media. I don't even know if I had a smartphone at that point. So it wasn't like I was on my phone in the car. Right. So I was looking for something to do in the car. And a friend of mine told me I should try knitting. And I come from a long extended family of knitters. And right. So I kind of jumped into that. And I couldn't be stopped once I started.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, you really got into it. So knitting, though, is kind of a broad category. What products specifically do you craft?
Well, over the past 13 years, I've knit almost anything and everything you can imagine, but my business is really focused on women's accessories, modern accessories that can be used practically in a woman's life. So things like hats, scarves, mittens, and coffee cozies are some of the things that I knit. I also love working with clients one-on-one to create custom items just designed for them.
That's really cool. That's a really growing in popularity, the whole customized thing. So that's really cool that you can do that. That's awesome. So more directly, I guess, specific to today's discussion, why did you decide to start selling online?
Well, pre-pandemic, I had been selling at a local shop, but I was really struggling with that format, especially since then with the pandemic, people weren't shopping in person at all. And just selling at that local shop wasn't growing my business at all. So I decided to try selling online.
Makes sense. Now, those who are familiar with Etsy, that seems to be the logical choice. That's the kind of the backbone of their site, is handcrafted items of a variety of different means. So before putting your online store on Etsy, did you explore other options for getting online?
I did explore some other options. The usual question that comes up with Etsy is they take fees. Mm-hmm. And so people are trying to avoid those fees. But really, any website that you're going to have is going to have fees of some kind. But the big benefit of Etsy is that it's bringing customers to you that are already looking for handmade items, mm-hmm. and they're ready to make some kind of a purchase. So you don't have to do all the work of funneling potential customers to your website, because Etsy, just being Etsy, brings customers in.
Right. Okay, that makes perfect sense. But how difficult was it for you? Because I've looked at your shop on Etsy and it's beautiful. It's very well done. How difficult was it for you to create that? And secondarily, what was the greatest challenge that you had in putting your store online?
It isn't very difficult. Etsy makes it pretty intuitive to be able to set it up. My biggest challenge was creating graphics to add to that Etsy shop. Mm-hmm. I just didn't have much experience with that at all. And so I did enlist the help of a friend of mine to help me get started with creating graphics. And it's not like you even would have to have graphics, but it adds to the professional look of your shop.
Sure.
Another challenge that I struggled with was really understanding the need to be found on search engines and words and language to use in your listings in order to do that. So that's always an ongoing challenge, I think.
I think it is for every business. You know,
Yeah.
the whole SEO thing is kind of a mystery thing that
Exactly.
we all try to master, but I don't know that we do. So you've kind of overcome that. Your shop is online on Etsy. What now? What is currently your greatest challenge?
So my current greatest challenge is finding my ideal customer and then getting my products in front of them. So Etsy definitely does some of that work, but a lot of the work to attract customers is done through social media. So getting my ideal customer to see my products, to be intrigued enough to explore further. I'm always working on the language that I use in my listings and my social media posts, and then also working to improve my photography to attract that ideal customer.
Right. So to sell online, you really are not just a crafter. You have to be a marketer. You have to be a photographer, a copyright, et cetera, et cetera. You have to know every aspect of a business. Were you expecting that when you first decided to put your products online?
I expected some of it, but I definitely didn't realize the extent of it. People just think that I sit and watch Netflix and knit. But and while that would be lovely,
Yeah, great.
there's a little more involved than that. So like you mentioned, photographer, videographer, model, editor, copywriter, social media manager. I have to
Right.
decide what I'm going to knit, find patterns and yarns and design and trial and error. Yeah, so, and then you have the practical things like customer relations and packaging and shipping. So all of that falls
Wow.
on one person.
Right. That's a lot. And still to try to have a life
Exactly.
outside of that. That is a lot. And you do such a great job on Instagram. I'm always really impressed with your posts and your stories on there. How much time do you actually devote to learning about marketing on social media and then preparing for it and actually putting everything online?
Yeah, I find it's really hard to quantify a time. I'm constantly working at trying to balance everything. Um, Having time to actually knit, having time to engage on social media and plan that aspect of it, and then have time in my actual real life with, my family and friends. But
Right.
I've taken several courses that were specifically designed for handmade creators, addressing the needs specifically of handmade businesses that have been very, very helpful. One important thing for me is to realize that I need a social media schedule that I can sustain. So some people will tell you have to post every day, stories and reels and everything. And you just need to find something that you can sustain and you can show up consistently for your client. So I normally post, I think, four or 5 days a week.
Right.
I don't try to do 7 days a week. And that's what I can consistently stick with. And then a second thing for me is planning out everything ahead of time. So I usually try to plan out 2-week chunks of content,
Right.
and write all the copy. I don't necessarily have all the pictures at that point to go with everything, but I can then plug in those pictures when I do have them.
Right.
That just helps me that I'm not scrambling day of. I have to post something and what am I going to write? Have it
Right.
all scheduled out ahead of time. So that has really helped me with the stress level.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's a great tip.
And with stories for IG, I try to do one recording day a week. So I record all my stories that day, then I can go back and edit them and post them when I need to. Again, then you're not scrambling day of.
Right. Good. Very good. That's very good insight, very good tips. I found the same for me. I tried to do it all when I first started and I'm like, okay, this is going to kill me. So
yes, exactly.
It's finding that balance and finding what works for you is great tip. Very good. what you're wearing today is beautiful. I'm assuming you made that cap and scarf.
Yes.
They're beautiful. You really have a good eye for design and color and everything. I really enjoy everything that you make, and your care really shows through too.
Thank you.
I have no doubt you will continue to grow and be successful in this endeavor. And I wish you the very best.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, our time is up, I'm sorry to say, but Cathie, I truly appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us today. I know our audience is appreciative of everything that you shared today. And for our viewers, I'm going to share information about Cathie's shop, Cathie Knits for You, EWE, and you'll see the information about how to find her shop and how to contact her in this post and at the end of the video. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I'm going to be interviewing other online sellers in the future, so stay posted. But until then, have a great day.